All right. So yeah, like I was just saying, we're going to be looking at charts and graphs today. And these are tools that you can use to take data that's already in a table. So we've been using Excel to create tables, but now we're going to look at taking that table and then turning that into a graph or a chart. That's going to be really helpful to be able to show your data and how it correlates and how it relates to each other. And so we're going to take a good look at that, and we're going to go through a couple of different examples of what they look like and how to use them. So I'm going to start just by entering some basic data here. So I'm just going to put, let's see, city, and I'm going to put count, and let's say that we took a survey. I'm just going to kind of format this a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some cities that are here in Washington State, and I'm gonna start with Kent. Let's do Puyallup, Tacoma, Seattle. Let's do Ording, um, Bellevue, Kirkland, um, Fife, um, Federal Way, Des Moines. Give me two more. Who's got another one? I'm looking for two more. Let's see, two more cities. Let's do DuPont and Lacey. So let's say we took a survey, and in that survey, we asked people, what's your favorite city in Washington? And we got some results, right? So we got 9 people said Kent. We had 15 say Puyallup. We had some say Tacoma. Not a lot of people like Seattle. Let's say 11 Ording, Bellevue. Let's say there's maybe a few more, probably 29 or so. Kirkland, we'll say 34, 5, 16. I'm just making up these numbers, guys. So sorry if your city I did not represent, or if I did represent your city, maybe I didn't give them a good number. No offense, okay? Just making some numbers here. 7, and then Lacey 6. So just looking at this, this is a pretty simple chart, and you have some information here. And we're going to look at how we could use a bar chart in this particular case and graph a bar chart, and how that is going to make this data a little bit easier to look at. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and the first thing you want to do whenever you are graphing is you got to graph all the data. So not just the actual data, but you also want to include like the titles up here, because normally that's going to tell it what you're looking at and how it all relates. And so the first thing we want to do is go from A1. So of course, this is A1. And we know that because 1 is the row number here, and we're in column A. So column A, row 1, where those two intersect is cell A1. So you can see that right here, it says A1. So I'm just going to select from A1 all the way down to B13 right here. I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to go to insert, and I'm going to insert. There's a couple different charts right here. See, we're in the charting area here. So I'm just going to go on recommended charts, and let's see what we get. So there's a couple different recommended charts here. So there's a pie chart, which you can see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bar chart. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to hit OK. And then it gives me a bar chart here. And just looking at this really quickly, is it easy to identify which one is the most popular city?
Sort of.
A little bit. It's kind of close, right? There's a couple that have high ones, but it's pretty easy to see which ones are popular and which ones are not, right?
Right.
Yes, and that's kind of the purpose of a bar chart. It's a way to compare different options. You know, normally you'll see a bar chart oftentimes where maybe you did a survey and you're asking people, what restaurant do you want to go to on vacation? And everyone answers the survey, and you have all these different bars that tell you how popular each option is. And so one of the things we want to do anytime we have a chart, we want to give it a title. In this case, it gave it an automated title of count. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that twice. I'm going to get my cursor in there. I'm going to back that up and I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be favorite cities survey results. Okay, and then I'm just going to click over here in the white somewhere. And then it cleans that up. And so we've got our title in there. And as you can see on the bar chart, right? So this is 5. So this is the line here for 5. So that would mean that they got 5 votes, 10 here, 15, and so forth. Let's go ahead and click here. And I'm going to right click here. I'm actually going to do add data labels. So I'm going to show that again. So as I right click on this area, notice that it highlights all of the different bars, right? So you see that they have these dots around the edges. That means that it selected all of them. So I'm going to right click on one of them, and then it gives me some options. I can delete them. I can reset to match style. I can change series chart type. I can select additional data. Right now, I'm just going to do add data labels. And what that's going to do is it's going to take these numbers here, like for instance, Kent is 9. It's going to put a 9 on the top of Kent. And it's going to do the same thing for each one of these. So adding data labels. And did you see what it did?
Much better.
Yeah, a little bit better, a little easier to read, right? It gives you the actual number and it also gives you the bar chart. So that's kind of nice. And then another thing we can do is we can right click here now and we can go to format data series. Now let's take a look at some of our options. So I'm going to look at this one right here. So over here, we have the paint bucket. This is for fill and line. Very similar to the paint bucket that we have up here, but you're going to get some different options. So I'm going to go to fill. And let's see. Let's do vary color by point. And now you got a little bit nicer chart. So it's giving you some different colors there, right? You can have a lot of fun with this actually. You can do no fill. So it can look like that. You can do a solid fill. With a solid fill, here you can change the color, of course. You could do all orange. You could do black. Just transparency here is going to make it like a shaded, right? So notice as I watch this number here, see it says 21. As I get closer to 100, it's going to become more and more transparent. See how it's like black, but you can see through it here. You can see the lines behind it. So that's transparency. And we can do that with any color. We can do orange with 77% transparency. You can see through it, right? As I move that down, somewhere around 30% or so, you can start to see through it. And then if I go to 100%, then it's completely transparent. There's no more orange, right? So yeah, this is a nice little function here. Let's look at the other ones. So you have gradient fill. What does gradient fill mean? That means that you can like bring something like this in and watch what happens. So you see how it kind of makes a nice little shade. Okay. You can do that. You can go with like a purple one. You can go with a path. A lot of different options in here. I'm just showing you guys a couple different things that you can play around with. Okay. And then the angle of it, not going to mess with that, but there's a lot of different options in the gradient fill. So we're just looking at different ways to color your bars. You can also do it with a picture or a texture fill. So let's pick a texture. Maybe we want wood. You could fill it with wood. You could fill it with kind of this blue stitch. Or we could do a picture. Let's go grab a picture. Let's go to, so I just went to, so I'm on picture and texture fill, and I'm gonna go to picture source and do insert. Let's just grab a stock image. Those will be easy. And let's just do a stock image of a sunrise. This looks like Pacific Northwest. Hit insert. And it doesn't do it very well with that picture, but I think you guys get the point. Like you can fill it with the picture. Let's see here. You could, of course, again, do transparency. Okay. And so forth. So that's picture and texture fill. Pattern fill, you can do a pattern, bricks,
Wow.
stitch there, polka dot, right? You can kind of have some fun with it. Obviously, you can change those colors. So here's the background color, and then here's the foreground color right here. So let's say I change the background color to black. Now you have black and orange bricks. Or you can go black and yellow, right? So you can kind of play with that. A lot of options there, different things to choose from. Automatic is just what does it automatically come up with? And so I like that one. So I'm just going to leave it there. So that's your fill area there. And then under border, this is where you can change like the border for the particular like bar graph parts. So here, let's say I did a color of black. Let's click off. See, it's kind of easy to see here on these lighter ones. You can't quite see the black border on the dark ones, but you can see it here on the green or on this one. So let's go back in there again. You can also change the width of the black border. So watch what happens as I increase it. See how it gets more pronounced there, right? So if you want your stuff to stick out, it's nice to add a border to it. And then there's some other options down here on like, do you want it to have like a pattern? Like, do you want it to be a solid line or do you want it to be dashed like that? Stuff like that. So you gotta play with all of this stuff and make it really custom to what you like. I'm gonna actually get rid of that. I did not like that as dashes. I'm gonna go back to a solid line there. There you go. Okay. And so again, I'm gonna back out of here. And then let's actually increase this font too. Let's make this black and we're going to increase it and we're going to make that bold. So there you go. So you've got your bar chart. Again, this is just a really simple way to display kind of if you have survey results or any kind of results of something and it's showing multiple options, right? Maybe there's a survey at work and they ask where do people want to have our annual conference, Tacoma, Seattle, Ording, or all these cities. And these would be the responses, right? So there you go. So that is your bar chart, again, used for comparison. I'm going to grab this data and do another chart. So I'm just copying it here. We're just copying that data. I'm going to make a new tab. So sheet 1 is where we did the bar chart. I'll actually go ahead and name it, rename, bar chart. And then on sheet 2, we're going to do a pie chart. Go ahead and insert that. Okay, so we got the same information, but this time we're going to do it in a pie chart. So in a pie chart is nice because it'll do some percentages for you, right? So if you want to know, let's actually change it up a little bit, right? So let's say we're doing, I'm not going to name any names here. I'm just going to, let's say we were looking at presidential candidate votes, right? So candidate name and then votes. So let's say there's 3 candidates running for president. Candidate 1, candidate 2, and candidate 3. Let's say this one, candidate 1 had 6 million. Actually, let's do some big numbers. 10,658,326 votes. I'm going to format it like a number. There we go. Candidate 2 got 11,984,006 votes. And then candidate 3 got 6,598,412 votes. Okay. So normally when you see this information, it's kind of good, but anybody been watching politics? Like, how do they normally convey election results? how do they talk about them? Do they talk about how many votes they got, or do they talk about the percentage of the vote that the individual candidate receives? That's a question for you guys. Anybody got any thoughts on that? How do they normally display how many votes a candidate got or percentage of votes? Have you ever seen a,
Percentage,
yeah, like a
percentage of
percent?
votes.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So here, instead of looking at the number of votes they got, it might be a little bit easier to put it in a pie chart where it can show the percentage of the vote that each candidate got. So I'm just going to click again, just like we did earlier. I'm going to click candidate name, so the title information, and then I'm going to select all of the information here. And then we're going to go up to insert, and we're going to go to recommended charts. And here is a pie chart. Just click on that. I'm gonna hit OK. And here's my pie chart. So just looking at this, it's a little bit hard to know if blue or orange got the most votes, right? Blue being candidate 1, orange being number 2. So again, we can come here and right click again. We can add our data labels and it puts some numbers in there, but maybe we don't want numbers. Maybe we want percentages. So let's click in there again. Let's see here. I haven't got to look at this again. Let's see. Okay, so I right clicked in here and did format data labels. And now remember we did this, we looked at this one, but now we have another one for label options and we can choose percentage. Right now we're looking at the value for that piece of the pie. So for the piece of the orange pie, we got 11,984,000 votes, but I want to convert everything to percentage. So let's turn off value. Oh, let me undo that. I actually just wanted to change it to percentage and I'll get rid of value. And there we go. And then we can look at, let's see, you got our number. Yeah, so there we go. So everything there now, I'm gonna actually change the color to red just to make it pop a little bit. That's still a little hard. How about yellow? Yeah, there we go. Yellow seems to be a nice little contrast. So here we can see, I'm gonna just go ahead and clean this up. Percentage of the overall votes. So here you can see the candidate 1 got 36%, candidate 2, 41, and then candidate 3, 23%. Notice though that those numbers are not over here anywhere. So Microsoft Excel is doing a little bit of math for you in this particular case, and it's taking all the information and it's converting it from values into percentages, which is really nice because you don't have to do that work on your own, which I really like. A couple other things I want to show you here. Notice that when I click off of the graph, there's not a chart menu up here at the top. It ends at Acrobat. But when I click on the chart, notice that I get 2 more menus up here at the top. Let's go and look and see what we got up there. So let's go to chart design. So you got a couple different things. You can add chart elements. So you can like add a title. You can do some stuff with the data labels. And you can work on the legend. The legend is this thing down here at the bottom where it says candidate 1, 2, and 3. So maybe you want the legend on the right. You can move it here to the right. You can move it to the top. You can move it to the left. Or you can move it and have none. Okay, I'm going to move it to the right. So I just moved it over here to the right. Under quick layout, again, some different things we can look at, different options to look at, depending on what you like. You don't have to use these. And I'm just moving my mouse over each one of them. I'm not clicking them, I'm just moving my mouse over each one. So I'm not going to select any of those for this point. Here you can change colors and go with a color scheme like, you can kind of pick the color scheme here. Let's go with this one. And then here is really fun. You can start to choose some different options here. And I'm just, again, moving my mouse over these. I'm under chart design. As I'm moving my mouse over them, just notice how they change a little bit. Just some kind of default ones. I like that one. I always like the black and white contrast. Those are always my favorite. Got a couple different options here. And I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. And that's essentially your pie chart. We could also look at, let's see. We could change the chart type here. Let's take a quick look at that. If we change the chart type and we went with like a 3D pie chart. So I could click on this one. Let's see what it does. Yeah, and here you see we got some options. Makes it a little fancier. It makes it 3D, kind of cool to look at. Look at some of these other options. See, look at that one. See, this one brought like the labels over to the percentage. So candidate 1, 36, candidate 2, 41. So kind of did a little bit of that. We can bring it out here. Bring out a piece. I can kind of bring out a piece like that to show that this is the candidate that won. So to do that, I just clicked on it and then I just kind of pulled it out just a little bit. See that? That's kind of nice. So you can see the different pieces of the pie on their own. Okay. Any questions about pie charts? So again, pie charts are used to see, normally I would say to see like the percentage of a whole. So everybody voted and you want to see what percent voted for what person. Or maybe there was a vote for prom, homecoming, and prom king. You would use a pie chart to see who got the highest percentage of votes. All right, let's do our last one here. So I'm adding another sheet. And I'm going to do a trend on this one. We're going to do, let's do month. And let's do value. So this is going to be looking at an investment that you made. Actually, let's do year. So we're going to track this investment for 20 years from 2000 to current. So I'm just going to bring this down all the way to 2024. So there we go. I'm going to just put some formatting on it. Okay, so let's say you invested, let's say $500,000 in 2000. Just going to make all this currency. And in the next year, that 500,000 became 505,000. And then it went down to 495,000 the next year, lost some money, went down again to 480. Again, it went down to 421. Then it popped back up. Let's say it popped back up to around 501. And then up to 580 the next year. Up to 612. And then again, about 610. It dipped again down to 589. Oh, 589. And then went back up 665. Went back up to 701. 712. 745. Back down 701. Jumped up to 798. Let's see, it went down a little bit to 746.5. then down to 714, 325, back up again to 764, 998, 770, 356. 2020, that was the year of COVID and everything we thought was coming to an end. So it dipped down to 689. And then we figured out it wasn't, and it went back up. And then it rebounded really nice. Oh, 750. 801. 823. And this year you invested in tech stock and you did really well. And let's say it went up to 902. All right. So this is, and if anybody that's invests, right, you always look at where you started at. So this would be where you started. And then, oh, sorry. And then you compare that with where you finished, right? And you want to see how you got there, right? Did it always go up? Did you have some bad years? Did you have some bad months? Like, what was the trend? So we use line charts to look at trends. And most of the time in finance is when you're going to see line charts, because you're looking at what you initially invested, and then years later, months later, days later, whatever your time frame is, you're looking at how it performed over time. Did you lose money or did you make money? So let's call this one line chart. Okay, so again, going to select all of the information and insert. And let's go with bar chart here. Okay. And then I'm going to just pull this over. I actually got a little bit of cleanup to do on this one. So I'm actually going to come here and notice that like the values here is 1, 2, 3. That's not right. These values should be the year. So in this year, this was the value. In this year, this was the value. So right now it's counting from year 1, 2, 3, but I wanted to start with the year 2000 and then 2001. So it didn't quite pick it up when I did the automated way. So I have to help it a little bit. This is called the x-axis. So if you've ever done like geometry, you know that the x-axis always goes left to right, and the y-axis goes north and south, up and down. So we want to modify the values that it's using for the x-axis label, because this is the label that goes across left to right. So it should be 2000, 2001, etc. So I'm going to right click there. I'm going to select data. Selecting data means that you want to change the source of like the information. So see here, it says horizontal category axis labels. And right now it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is what we see down here. So I'm going to edit that, and I want to tell it, actually for these labels down here, I want to use these years. Then I'm going to hit enter or OK. See, now the list is 2000, 2001, 2002. I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. My chart is a little tight. I'm just going to make it a little wider. There we go. So now we can see that on this chart, here's our initial investment. And we can see that over time, it did have some dips. It generally would go up and then have some dips, up, dip, up, dip, up, right? So this is a nice way to see trends. Let's just, again, look at some of our options up here, again, under chart design. We can look at our axis. So we got our titles, we got a chart title already. Data labels, we're not going to add. Let's see, we could add data table. We could put the table in the bottom. What would that look like? No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that either. Okay, so we'll leave that alone. Let's see, grid lines. No, not my favorite. I think we're good with what we got. So we'll leave all that alone. Quick layout. Let's take a look at this. Let's just kind of peek at some of the things that it does. There we tried to add the values, but it looks a little too much. Yeah, I don't like any of these. Can we change the color maybe? Yeah, we could, but I think I'm good. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. The extra line there, because we just want the values for each year, right? What was the value each year? And now I'm just going to peek at some of the different charts and options. Again, I still think that one looks nice. Don't like that. That one's okay. That one's kind of nice. I like this one. Oh, oh, no, not that one, not that one. This one. This one's not bad either. I like those lines that kind of climb up a little bit. Kind of looks like you're climbing a mountain, right? Or going on a hike. So we'll stick with that one. We can also come in here and change this line color. See the fill there? Just right clicked on it and then I could change it to, let's see. I can change this color. It's orange. Let's go with orange. There we go. And again, same thing that we looked at earlier. You can, again, have transparency on your line, kind of make it so forth. You can make it a thick line. See, as I'm increasing it here to a 6.25 thickness. And let's say we get rid of that. You got a nice thick line there. We can use patterns, gradients. Again, we can use like, see, there's a background gradient there. The direction of it, maybe that way. So again, just a lot of different options here that you can play with. Okay. And let's come here and look at cleaning up this. So this would be investment performance from 2000 to 2024. And let's say I want to make that bold, put it in black, and make it bigger. Okay. And there we go. So there's your bar chart. I'm gonna kind of clean this up just a little bit. That background's a lot for me. Let's see if we can get rid of that. Or we can maybe just go with a color that's not so strong. There we go. That's a little cleaner for me. All right. So those are the three different charts. So just a quick review. So we've got our bar chart. So in a bar chart, we're normally looking to compare different options and understand how people are feeling. Normally with a survey, and all of us have gotten lots of emails to take surveys. Normally those results on the backside are looked at maybe in a bar chart or sometimes in a pie chart where they're looking at the percentage for each one of those options. In this case, in this example we used here, a candidate, right? So candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3. And then here we have a line chart, which is where we're looking normally at the performance of a particular thing over time is normally what you're going to see a line chart for. Does anyone have any questions? I did a lot of talking so far. Any questions?
Well, no, I go to a shelter once a month,
Okay.
and I was thinking about, been going for about 2 years, and I was thinking about doing a chart on those that wanted prayer, those that accepted salvation. I'm thinking about that because it would be easier to track what we're doing that way, just in a couple of categories to say, well, I think we need extra prayer. You can use this any kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You're exactly right. You could design a survey. And normally I like to make surveys anonymous because sometimes people don't want you to know what their answers are, but they'll answer it if their name isn't attached to it. And you
Exactly.
can kind of put out a survey, gather some information. People don't have
Yeah.
to put their names on it. And then you can turn that into a chart, kind of
Yep.
like, let's go back to the first one. Like you could have a chart on like how many people want more prayer, or how many people need this, how many people need that.
I like that.
And then you could like make a bar chart with it. And it's very easy to show to like leadership, or
Yeah.
whoever might be your stakeholder, to let them understand the information. And
You bet.
yeah, yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions about charts?
So, no, I think Miss Linda should do some exercise and show us next time what she come up with.
I like it. Miss Linda's teaching next class.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. We'll see. Thank you.